So the next morning, Dila Kanisha shows up at my house, just unannounced. Like, it's probably like 8 a.m. in the morning. And she comes in and she's like, I got a big surprise for you. And I'm like, what? And she's like, just move, Tom, move. And she, sort of pushes me to the side, comes in, and then she just start bringing in like equipment, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. And she was just like, I know you're feeling bad, but what you really need is a really good massage, and we gonna really take care of you today. And I'm like,
Wait a minute.
we? Who is we? So she comes in, she's like, where can I set this up? And I was like, you can put it anywhere, it don't matter. So I had like a room in the back, there really wasn't nothing in it. So she goes in the back, she starts setting up this massage, table, puts like a diffuser out, trying to really set the mood for this massage or whatever. Now, I'm sore, and I'm telling her like, yeah, I'm super sore. I don't know if I could take all that pressing and pushing and stuff like that. And she was just, no, I'm going to massage all the rest of your body so that you can release your toxins and feel all better and stuff, right? So I'm just like, okay, what I'm saying? I'm a little worried, because I'm sore, like I'm hurting still. Knock at the door, and like 2 other girls show up, and I'm like, it's about to be a group session, like what's happening right now, right? And she's like, no, they're gonna clean the whole house top to bottom. So they're gonna start cleaning and all this stuff. Y'all start in the kitchen, and they like, yes, prophetess, prophetess, test, whatever they call a prophet or whatever. So they just like listening to all her orders or whatnot. So they go in the kitchen, start cleaning up. She go in this room and she starts doing this massage. And so I'm laying face down and she's doing this massage or whatnot. And she's rubbing the back of my legs. And I thought it was weird because she had oil. I could feel the oil like on my body and whatever, but she had on gloves, right? And I was like, who gives a massage with gloves on? It's just interesting, right? And she has strong hands. I'm talking like Shaquille O'Neal grips, right? Doing the massage or whatever. And I can hear the girls out there cleaning and stuff like this. And they like, prophetess, what you want us to do with the stuff in the refrigerator? She like, throw everything out. We buy him all new groceries, da-da-da-da-da. The pastor said, spare no expense. I'm like, what is happening? So she's just like, Tom, you need to relax. You need to, da-da-da-da-da. And she's just working my thighs and working the back of my legs. And because my back was messed up. So she, working my lower back and, this and the third. And so she turns, she's like, turn over and on the table. And so she's working my shoulders and arms. And I ain't gonna tell no lie, I start feeling like real, like good. Now, I'm loopy on these drugs, people, so stay with me and don't judge me. So I'm loopy on these drugs. She working it in. She got a little bit of music playing, you know what I'm saying? She takes her shirt off. Now, when she took her t-shirt off, all she had on was like her bra. She had these, big ass titties. And so she leaning in and just working, rubbing on me and this and the third. So she takes her leggings off. Now she just has on a t-shirt and some panties. And she's rubbing that oil in and just sliding up and down and like using her body as like part of the massage, right? I mean, this don't get me wrong, this definitely turned into a Deshaun Watson situation. She's working in, doing all this stuff, right? And Dilamante came to the party. And so she sees Dilamante now awoken, and she's just like still acting like, let me get around your thighs. And so she's working my upper inner thigh on both sides. And, all of a sudden she, she's on Dilamante, right? She's on it. And, I'm like, okay, this is getting interesting. And so she takes the glove off, and then I can hear her put some more oil like on her hand. My eyes is closed. I'm like leaning back or whatever, and she comes back and she's like, she's back on Dilamante. And now I'm like, what just happened? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I got my eyes closed and I'm like, hey, take your rings off. And she's like, I don't have any rings on my hand, silly. And so I sort of look, she got the biggest gorilla mitts I've ever seen in my life. Like, and her skin was that of an alligator. It was ferocious. And I'm like, she just going, and I'm like, that don't feel good at all. Like, what? And so I grab her hand, and she's like, Tom, you need to stop. You need to release. You need to let it out. You need to release. You got a lot of backed up toxins. You need to let it flow. And so she goes down like just start going ham on the mic. Now that didn't feel like no alligator. That felt like inside the mouth meat. And so she going ham, just like, I mean, things were released into the atmosphere. And after that, she gets every drop. Gets every drop. Sidebar. According to my statistics on my channel, most of the people who watch my video, don't get me wrong, truly appreciate y'all, love y'all part of the family. But if everybody who watched my video was to actually subscribe to my channel, I would have like 50, 70, 80, 90, maybe even 100,000 subscribers. Please, if you're enjoying the video, just hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment, share the video. Help us grow, okay? I'm trying to have Mr. Beast numbers, for real. Now back to the story. Now she's sort of like wiping the oil off of me, and I'm chilling, and she's like, hey, old girl who came here yesterday? And I'm like, you mean Creamy? And she's like, yeah. And she started telling me all this gossip about Creamy and Creamy's husband, and how he insecure, and how he didn't, hire private investigators, and, been investigating like dudes she done tried to talk to, going out on dates, approaching men, telling them that, that he gonna have them beat up if they talk to his wife and all this stuff. I'm like, really? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like interested, you know what I'm saying? But she just, gossiping, basically giving all this shade towards Creamy, right? And so, as she, wrapping up or whatever, and she's just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Just be on the lookout, because her husband is like really, really crazy. So you need to know that. So I'm like, okay. So I come out, I go in the living room, sit on the couch, and she talking to the other two girls. They probably working for like another 45 minutes, and then they dip out. All of them dip out. So I go in the kitchen, they done made some food. I got some food or whatnot, but I noticed my juicer was gone, and I was like, I don't never even use a juicer, but somebody done stole my damn juicer. And so I'm looking in the cabinet, I'm like, maybe they done moved it somewhere. So I'm looking, and I text her, and I'm like, hey, I can't find my juicer. And so like about 10 minutes later, she texts me back. She's like, Tom, you ain't even using that juicer, man. I got that juicer. I'm gonna use that juicer. I'm gonna make you some juice. This and the third, right? And so I'm like, I wasn't using it. I wasn't. And so I just let it slide, right? By the way, I'm wearing one of our t-shirts at the merch store. I'm a nasty ninja. If you want to go and grab this t-shirt from the merch store. I love people becoming members of the channel. It really helps out, but nothing helps out more than buying from the merch store, because those funds go directly into making the channel great and allowing me to make more and more content. So if you get a second, just go to the merch store, buy a t-shirt for your cousin, your uncle, your auntie, your sister, everybody. Support the channel by buying a t-shirt or one of the items from the merch store. Once again, I truly appreciate it. Thank you. Went back in there, ate some food, sat down, maybe 45 minutes later. So Creamy comes over to my house, and she's concerned, all this stuff, just trying to make a checkup, make sure I'm feeling better, because she know everything that transpired or whatnot. And so I bring up the situation with her husband again, and I'm like, hey, is your husband okay? Like, is it? And she just goes in and she starts telling me all this stuff. Now, as she's telling me all this stuff, she's like getting closer and closer on the couch, and she's just like, we need to talk about something else. And I was like, what? She's like, when I told you I was a prophetic dreamer, and I told you I already dreamed this moment, what I didn't tell you is, like, everything that has happened between us, I knew it was going to happen. Like, I knew that other lady was going to be here. I knew that other lady was going to tell you things about me that would try to, twist your idea of me. And I know what we are ultimately supposed to become. Now I'm sitting there like, this is a motion picture. What's happening next? I'm like sitting there wanting to eat some popcorn as she talking because it's getting so intriguing. You can hear the suspenseful music playing in the background as she telling me this stuff, right? And she's just like, I have dreamed this whole sequence of events that leads to us ultimately being together, and you are going to be my husband. And I'm like, you got a husband and I'm gonna be the husband? That's crazy. She just, going in on it real deep, real, da-da-da-da-da. And she's just like, but the thing is, she's gonna try to drive a wedge in between us. And what you need to understand is, I'm a woman of God. I'm a real woman of God. And so she gets up in my lap, right? And so she's like, got her hand on my forehead doing that, like, she's trying to pray over me or whatnot. And she's like rocking back and forth and, just like straddling me at this point and praying at the same time, like straddling and praying. And so, man, Diamante comes out to play. So she feels it. She starts like just, riding me and just, just grinding and grinding. And then she gets up and she's like, just shaking like in front of me. And I could feel like I could see her whole body like shivering again. And she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. She goes around the corner to the bathroom. So, of course, again, I come around the corner to see what she's doing in the bathroom. This time, she got her dress lifted up, her panties is on the floor, and she's looking down at her coochie. She's like, I rebuke you. I rebuke you. You will not take over my body, Satan. You will not take over my body. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Child, listen. I love church girls, but they be crazy. It be funny to me. Don't get me wrong, I love a person's passion for spirituality and religion or whatever, but it be extra as hell sometimes, right? She comes out the bathroom, act like nothing ever happened. She sits back down on the couch and she's just like, can I make you anything? Is there anything you need? I'm like, nah, they pretty much got me together, you know what I'm saying? So we sitting there. Knock at the door. She gets up, goes answers the door, because, I'm walking on a cane still. And it's her husband. And he's just like, and he has like a little basket. He's like, hey, I just thought I'd drop this off for Brother Swoope, you know what I'm saying? Just make sure he's okay, see if he wants to join our fantasy football team this year. He's a great guy. I just really enjoy his humor. He's a silly one. And so she's just like, had this look on her face, and she was just like, and she takes it, closed the door. She comes back in with the thing or whatever, and I just told her, I was like, man, I'm just not feeling hot again. And she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I just probably need to get some rest. So I go to lay down. Now, maybe about 30 or 40 minutes later, I feel like I got the full-on flu. Like the flu, I got the surgery pains, I got all this stuff going on, right? I feel like I'm about to die, right? I call Creamy. I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling good at all. Like, I'm snotting and sneezing. My back hurt, this, and the third. And she's like, oh, Tom, I'm at work right now. I get off at about 4 hours. You think you can hold out till then? I'm like, yeah, I should be fine. So 20 minutes go by and I'm like, I don't know, man. So I just called Dealer Kadisha. So I call her. I'm like, hey, this, and the third. She like, that ain't nothing. You fine. What that is all them toxins finally coming out of your system. You gonna feel better in about, a couple hours or whatever. So I'm snotting and sneezing. I'm like, man, I ain't need that extra whatever you just did, because I'm messed up right now. She's like, I'll be over there in like 5 minutes. So Dealer Kadisha pull up over my house, right? She's just like, I just want to, da-da-da-da. She gave me some, some meds or whatever to help with the symptoms or whatever. And she's just like, you just got to blow and, it'll all get out your system. But I was like, my neck is sore, my shoulders is sore, everything aches, my body is in pain at this point because of all the stuff that's going on. So she just started rubbing my shoulders and, you know, this and the third, and she's like, she goes back on to talking about Creamy, and she was just like, you know, I called around on her, you know, she was in the psych ward. And I was like, in the psych ward? And she's just telling me all this stuff like about Creamy being, you know, admitted to the hospital, and she was on the 7th floor taking all these drugs and all this stuff. I was like, you know, everybody got a pass. And she was like, nigga, this was last week. And I'm like, last week? So I'm in my head, I'm like, what? And then, you know, all the stuff she was saying. And, you know, sometimes when people got, like, you know, spiritual powers or whatever you want to call it, they, you know, get treated like they crazy. You know what I'm saying? So she worked at the hospital, so I don't know how she could be on the 7th floor but back at work at the hospital, like, the next week. So I know part of this is gossip and people just spreading rumors about people. But at the same time, it's just like, So we sitting there, you know what I'm saying? I'm sweating. My face is like, you know, blush. You know, like I'm in bad shape, right? So I'm like, I need to go lay in the bed. So she held me upstairs to the bed. So I get in the bed, you know what I'm saying, and I'm cold. I'm freezing, right? Well, she puts on my electric blanket, and I'm just still freezing, right? So she takes off all of her clothes and gets in the bed with me, right? And started, you know, giving me her body heat. I'm laying there, you know, I'm shivering. She's, you know, trying to, you know, get me to warm up.